Welcome to Business PNG. On this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking to Andrew Barry, Managing Director of ExxonMobil PNG. Mr. Barry has over 20 years of international experience in the oil and gas industry, working with ExxonMobil. Prior to coming to PNG, he was president of ExxonMobil in Canada. In this capacity, he was responsible for ExxonMobil's production, development and exploration activities right across Canada. He took up the position of ExxonMobil PNG Managing Director in 2015. Now, Mr. Barry, ExxonMobil are names synonymous with the PNG LNG project. Since first gas in 2014, where is the project now?
Yeah, the project has been going outstanding, Maribor. I might take you through sort of the performance that we've had last year and start with our safety performance, which last year in 2016 was our best ever safety performance. And really, when you compare it to industry, we truly are best in class. In fact, we've worked almost 70 million hours without a single lost time incident or someone taking time off work as a result of an incident as such. And then when you look at our environment performance, similar performance, best in class, best ever year in 2016. Regeneration activities that are moving along better than expected across the project area. And so another outstanding performance. And then on the community investment side, we continue to make significant investment in the community, consistent with the government's goals and strategies around education, empowering women, and then health programs. Mm-hmm. And then when you look from an actual production perspective, last year and as we moved into this year, we've been producing at rates at almost 20% above what the design capacity is. Mm-hmm. And just a week or so ago, we delivered the 300th cargo for the project. And then on the reserve side as well, we've had more good news with the recertification of the reserves for the PNG LNG project, which was up some 25% from the original assessment in 2009. So it's been an outstanding project, and 2016 was certainly an outstanding year for us.
Now, Hides has been the center of activity for the project. You also have Pinyang and the plans for Pinyang as well. Are you able to just bring us up to speed on that development?
Yeah, for sure. So we're making really good progress with Pinyang, and we're currently in the process of actually building a well pad for the drilling of another well that is planned for the second half of this year. And so once we've completed drilling that well, we'll go through some certification process to look at the size of the resource and then come back to the government with the results of that.
Would you have a tentative timeline on how long these activities would take place?
So through this year, we've got the well that we'll be drilling, and then once we get that, we'll get a better understanding of from a full timeline for the development side of things. So a little too early to be talking about from a full development timing, but the key is that we're looking to do it as soon as we can, in conjunction of looking at the other developments that no doubt we'll talk about with the Interoil transaction. All right.
Now, in recent days, Exxon has announced the quality of the Muruk discovery. Yeah. It's an exciting prospect for all the partners involved in this project. Can you just explain how this adds another dimension to the project?
Yeah, it certainly does. And the value of Muruk is that we've drilled the first well that we announced the discovery in December last year. And the actual drilling is being conducted by Oil Search, and then we sidetracked it actually another 2 times to gain additional information. And this latest sidetrack confirmed the quality of the resource in the Muruk field, which is similar quality to what we've seen in Hides. And the advantage of Muruk that it's quite close to the Hides field and the Hides gas conditioning plant as such. So it's around 21 kilometres away. And if you compare that to Pinyang, which is the development for Pinyang would require a roughly 220 kilometre pipeline to interconnect into the existing infrastructure that we have for PNG LNG. Muruk has a different development opportunity.
It must be a pleasure working with Oil Search up that way?
It is, and they've done a really good job, particularly on the Muruk well. We've been very, very happy with the way that it's performed and the way they've drilled that well.
All right. Now, coming back to the PNG LNG project, the agreement to have the project also supply some gas into the power generation in Port Moresby has been welcomed for residents. Blackouts have seemed to be decreasing in recent months. They won't go away altogether. But what is the commitment from ExxonMobil in terms of this agreement between the project itself and PNG Power?
Yeah, and we're really supportive of the government's power strategy right across the country. And for Port Moresby in particular, we actually supply about 20% of the demand within Port Moresby from PNG LNG gas out of the LNG plant itself. And we've been working with the government and partners, co-venture partners, to add an additional 50 megawatts of capacity, which would add additional about 40% of capacity into the system as such. Working closely with PNG Power on what that design would be, and so been making good progress on that. And really at the stage where we're at the moment, it's needing to go through the funding side. Design has been completed, ready to award. Once the funds are secured, then the project can go ahead. But also importantly as well is the opportunity for power generation elsewhere in the country, in particular up in the project area, up in the Hides area. And so we have reserved gas up in the Hides area for additional power generation up in that area. And again, we're working with our co-venture partners in the government to be able to build that capacity.
I'm Leanne Gerari in Port Moresby, and you're watching Business PNG.
Now on to another subject, the acquisition of Interoil. Yeah. It has been an exciting one for ExxonMobil. Can you just bring us up to speed on where that is now?
Yeah, and I think I'd start by saying that the reason why the corporation, ExxonMobil Corporation, was confident to invest more in the country is driven by the performance of PNG LNG. And it's driven by the performance across, I talked about our safety performance, our environmental performance, our community relations that we have, the support that we have from the government, and very importantly, the quality of the people that we have in the organisation. And that gave the corporation the confidence to invest further. And so where we are at the moment, with the acquisition has just closed in February, and so that we've been just now talking and being involved in the PRL 15, or the Papua LNG project that is operated by Total. And so we're working with them through the development. But I'd just like to stress again, and I know that there may be some of our, or many of our employees and people that work on the project watching the show tonight, and I can't emphasise enough that the confidence that the corporation has in investing further is because of the quality of the people that we have in the organisation and the strides that they've made.
All right. Now, you mentioned Papua LNG. It must be a good feeling to be a partner in that prospective project as well. What are you looking for in terms of your cooperation with Total?
So we've been really pleased to join the Papua LNG project and Total as an operator. And I think as we came into the project, what really pleased us as we started the discussions with Total is the shared values that they have with us. When we talk to them about safety, when we talk to them about environment, talk to them about the community expectations, and the technical expertise that Total have was excellent. And so the discussions that we're having is very, very positive, and we're moving forward. What's important for the next steps for us is to try to understand the extent of the synergy opportunities that might be available between Papua LNG and PNG LNG. And it's not quite as simple as just two gas streams that come into a sort of single facility. There's quite a bit of engineering work that needs to be done to be able to understand the best way that those synergies may be able to be operationalised.
All right. Now, Total, ExxonMobil, obviously world players. From your perspective, what is the international take on the LNG business in Papua New Guinea? How high is the reputation? What do you get asked when you present at conferences overseas?
And I think it's really important to recognise the importance that the PNG LNG reputation is in the international community. It is very, very high. And so when we go out as PNG LNG and we represent the country selling LNG into the international market, the reputation is very high, and people and countries want to come and buy LNG from Papua New Guinea. And that has been a result of, again, I go back to the organisation, the fantastic people that we have in our organisation, but also really importantly, as we think about the support that we have from the communities, from the landowners, through to the government, and all the different co-venturers and the suppliers. It's really a partnership that provides that reputation as such. So it's really a team effort and a group effort. And if one of us aren't playing in towards the same goal, we wouldn't have the same result.
All right. Now, coming back home, you mentioned the important stakeholders, provincial governments,
yes,
landowners. ExxonMobil does a lot of work within the communities.
Yeah.
Are you able to just give us a snapshot of what you actually do with communities where the project is located?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I'll start off with education, because we've spent since 2013 supported 21 million kina in various education and school support as such. So we've helped out on the infrastructure side, building classrooms, building teachers' houses. We've been helping out from a scholarship perspective. We also have been piloting or a new training program for the boards within the schools, a board of management program that we've been trialling in the project area, and it's been very, very successful, and we hope that it gets rolled out across the country as such. So that's on from the education side. And then the empowering women side, and this is one of the areas that it's a pleasure of my job when I get the opportunity to look at the difference that we've made in some of the lives of women and women leaders within the country. We've just recently announced another 500,000 kina support for the Advancing PNG Women's Leaders Network. And there's an alumni for our Global Women in Management Training Program of 62 Papua New Guinean women that have been part of that program, and have been, it's been a fantastic results that we've seen. And then on the health side, again, we've been working from a training perspective and also an infrastructure perspective. So last year we handed over a 1 million kina sub-health centre in Para, near Hides, and we also handed over an ambulance as part of that. We've been supplying medical supplies, helping out with various hospitals around the country as such.
All right. Now, as we all know, it's the election period. Does this pose any particular challenges for the project at this point in time?
So it's going to be my first election, so it's an exciting time for me to experience it and to see the outcomes and to see the progress as such. What I'd say is that the support that we have from the government right across all of the different agencies as such is so important to the development we have right now in the PNG LNG project and future projects. And so they are a key partner and a key member of the team. And so as we go forward with whatever government makeup is in the future, it is absolutely critical, the support that we need from the government for projects to go ahead. And we look forward to working with whoever is in power after the elections.
All right. Now, one final question. If we have this discussion 12 months from now, where would you like to see ExxonMobil PNG?
Well, I'd certainly like to see us progressing some of these growth opportunities and having more sort of clarity around timing and the next stage of the developments as such. As we've just come into the Papua LNG project and working to see how that all fits together, as I sit here next year, I want to see the same level of success that we have with PNG LNG, and then looking at the growth opportunities that we have and the progress that we've been making on those.
On that note, Mr. Berry, thank you so much for joining us on Business PNG.
No problems, Maribel. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Mirabel Tulo, and you're watching Business PNG. Despite low world oil prices in 2016, record production levels at Oil Search Limited's oil and gas fields have enabled the company to maintain a positive outlook for this year.
I will be conducting today's meeting in accordance with the order of
At the company's annual general meeting, recently held in Port Moresby, The Board of Oil Search reflected on the performance of the company in 2016, whilst at the same time outlining the company's focus going forward. Shareholders of Oil Search Limited were given an opportunity to review the performance of Oil Search in 2016. According to Oil Search Chairman Rick Lee, record production at the company's oil and gas fields was a highlight, much of this contributing to the PNG LNG project, a project which Oil Search has a 29% stake in. Mr. Lee revealed that the company's operated fields performed well above expectation, contributing 6.8 million barrels of oil equivalent to the PNG LNG project.
In 2016, Oil Search supplied 13% of PNG LNG's gas and handled all of the project's condensate, which when combined with oil from our PNG oil fields, totaled more than 65,000 barrels of liquids per day.
Record production did not, however, translate to record profits, with production levels offset by low world oil prices, which averaged $45 per barrel, with Oil Search Limited recording a core profit of only $107 million.
Dividend payments in 2016 totaled 3.5 US cents per share, equivalent to 11 toya per share. While these payments represented 50% of our core profit, the top end of our 35 to 50% payout ratio range, they were lower than last year's 10 US cents per share payment due to the fall in oil prices and the consequent fall in company profits.
Mr. Lee reassured Oil Search shareholders that the company had entered 2017 in a strong operational and financial position, with the opportunity to deliver substantial value for shareholders. A point reiterated by Oil Search Managing Director Peter Botten when speaking to Business PNG immediately following the AGM.
Well, look, Muruk is the highest ever well drilled in Papua New Guinea. It's in the order of 10,000 feet up. It's pretty much on top of one of the higher mountains, and logistically, it's pretty challenging to get in and out of Muruk. Substantial use of helicopters and logistic support has been a key to success of the well, but also the drilling techniques that we've been using. It's broken a number of records. It's the deepest, one of the deepest wells we've ever drilled. It's the deepest well where we've put casing to properly test and evaluate one of the holes, and it's been quite complex technically to steer and drive the different wells, and there are 3 sidetracks to very, very accurate distances from the surface location to the top of the reservoirs. So the drillers have done an outstanding job in making the well as successful as it is and allowing us to properly evaluate what we've got in the ground. Early days yet, but very encouraging.
Building on activities in previous years, 2016 saw the company deliver sustainable development outcomes that not only support Oil Search's strategic goals, but will also have a lasting impact on the quality of life in PNG. According to Mr. Botten, of particular focus has been the work done at Tari Hospital, Hela Province, through the new Hela Provincial Health Authority. Since October 2015, Oil Search has delivered $2.3 million of improvements to the hospital's facilities, including a new tuberculosis ward.
We look forward again to the election so we can sit down and work with the provincial government in Hela to ensure that we can steadily improve the facilities that are in Hela, the health facilities, and again we're very much looking forward to being able to engage with them. I think it's a long road. I say to the staff at Tari that this road is to being, if possible, the best hospital in PNG is a long road. It's like going from Lae to Tari, and I think we've just gone past Nadzab. We're on the highway. It's a long journey, but we have made a difference. We have made a significant difference to the facilities, the infrastructure, and the quality of service. And I pay tribute to the staff that are doing that up there.
Oil Search has also partnered with government in delivering key infrastructure. These include the National Football Stadium, Sir Manasupe House, as well as APEC House, which will be used for APEC in 2018. According to the company's annual report, In 2016, Oil Search spent $32.2 million to progress 12 projects for the PNG government under the Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme alone. These projects are planned to reach practical completion this year and include road infrastructure and hospital and school redevelopments in Hela and Southern Highlands provinces.
Look, I think it's a positive move to allow discussions of how the best possible next phase of LNG can take place. Inevitably, we think Elk Antelope as a resource is a very good resource and should be part of the next phase. And I think it's also sensible to have Papua LNG talk to PNG LNG to look at how the projects can cooperate to reduce capital costs, reduce the time to first development and deliver the best possible project for the state, the people of Papua New Guinea, but also the developers. So we think it's a very good step that Exxon's across both projects, and I think it's been a very constructive dialogue between the various parties to date, including government, about how the projects might cooperate. And in this world of very competitive LNG supply, PNG needs to be at the best. It needs to do things really effectively, really efficiently. Otherwise, we won't compete with a very competitive supply from the US or from Australia or from other parts of the world. So if this is going to move forward, we've got to do it in the best possible way. The most important thing for us to do now as developers is to look at ways that we can actually optimise the development. And optimised development brings the most value to the state, most value to landowners. Obviously, we do feel that when after the election, new government will be formed, and inevitably that government is going to be asking us as developers what's happening, what's the next step, and I think we look forward to working with the new government and describing what we think is the next project and how that project could look. We recognise there are lots of things to do, including fiscal issues, including ensuring benefits and benefit sharing works and works well. And there are a range of challenges, but I think we've got a good resource. We're very well positioned. We don't need missteps because the competition will fill where we want to go. But we're in good shape now. Look, I think we've been through a lot of those elections. We've seen them before. I don't expect to see significant issues or disruptions to our operations. It hasn't happened before around election time. I think we're all aware that it's a dynamic process, especially in the Highlands. But at the end of the day, look, business is going on as usual, and we just look forward to getting out the other side and sitting down and working with the new government, whoever they are, to continue to build our business and play a role in developing the country.
According to Botten, in recent years, Oil Search has worked on improving its partnership at all levels. According to the company, partnering, collaboration and strong relationships underpin their success in Papua New Guinea. And that's all from us for now. For more business news, or if you'd like to view this episode again, visit the EMTV website at the address now showing on the bottom of your screen. For up-to-date business news and updates, you can like our page on Facebook or follow us on the Twitter handle @Business PNG. Until the next time, pleasant viewing. I'm Mary Batulo, and this was Business PNG.